Good afternoon, Ngozi Talk Shows family. It's Nomsa here at Ngozi Talk Shows, Find Your Own Voice, Led from Within. With me today, I am with Dr. Biggett. How are you, Dr. Biggett?
I'm doing well, thank you, Numsa. And you?
I am very well, thank you, and Happy New Year to everyone. Hope you guys had a lovely, lovely one. Did you have a good one, Dr. Biggett?
I have a wonderful start to the new year. So it'll be a great, wonderful year for all of us.
Awesome, awesome, so awesome. So, our topic today is unlocking your true potential, a mind shift for self wealth and a relationship. So, in the personal journey of personal development, unlocking one's true potential requires a profound mind shift. This transformative process not only elevates self-worth, but also enhance the dynamics of relationship. By positive mindset, by understanding and embracing the power within, individuals can cultivate a positive mindset that propel them towards growth, fulfillment, and a mindful and a meaningful connection. Dr. Biggett, what do you think about this topic?
Thank you, Numsa. And I would say it's a very interesting topic, unlocking your true potential, mind shift for self-worth and relationship. And as a grief specialist, I ask, where do you usually have your true potentials, and where is it potentially get locked up, so to say. And yes, it's definitely can be definitely in our mind, but also I would invite I would invite our audience to remember that in addition to our mind, there is another part of our system, so to say, that is just as important and sometimes can jump in the way of your mind. And so when you want to truly unlock your true potential, yes, you want to work with your mind, but also you want to work with your heart. And the reason for that is the heart has the heart sends signals through our system the way our mind does, except the signal from the heart and the speed and the strength can be up to 60 times faster and stronger than the one from our mind. And as accordingly, if you shift your mind into success, but your heart's not following along because perhaps there is a previous trauma, and sometimes it's not even yourself. Sometimes, for instance, you see somebody else in your family gone bankrupt and gone through embarrassment or depression, and then it's become a trauma for your tender heart. Then your mind might go and shift to abundance and prosperity, but your heart might not. And then there's a conflict inside of you, and if you have anybody ever done this where they say, okay, I know I'm supposed to do this, I'm supposed to it's good for me to take ABC steps, and I want to do it, but then I seems to cannot make myself to do it, or I seems to take two steps forward and then I self-sabotage. Anybody here ever self-sabotage? That's one of the reason. Your mind is set, but your heart said, no, 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 wait a minute. But what if this happened? You'll be embarrassed, you'll be depressed. So that's something that you would want to pay attention as well. But whether it's the heart or the mind, I would ask our listener who's listening to this, and if you say, oh yeah, I want to unlock my true potential, the questions always back is actually to your why. Ask yourself to the first thing with everything is, what is your why? Why do you want to unlock your true potential? Why do you feel that it'll be beneficial for you to have a shift in your self-worth, in your relationship? What is your why? Because if you don't have a why, it's like a ship on the vast ocean. And yes, there might be certain things that can be improved on that ship, but whether it's a ship on a vast ocean or a car, you have no destinations. You can have all the resource, and you will very potential. You just jump around. So for me, with everything, what is your why? What's really that? What is it that you want to do and be, not just do and have, but be, when you're unlocking your true potential? That will give you, firstly, is a direction. What is your thought about this topic, Numisa?
I actually agree with you when you say you have to have a big why to wanting to unlock your full potential in everything that you decide to do in life. Because when you know your big why and you will shift your mindset, you will do whatever it takes and shift your mindset to focus on what you want to achieve in that moment. Like if it's a relationship, you shift your mindset. If it's maybe it's business, or if it's simple, you just want to get into personal development and just know your worthiness and just have that power, reclaim that power that you've lost. Because when we tell ourselves that we are not worthy, we then become worthless. We feel that we don't have power. And it's very, very important. The reason also why I chose this topic, yesterday I was talking about relationships and how you can put yourself out there for dating. And some people were like, but I don't feel worthy. I don't feel that I am worthy. So you have to understand the power of self-awareness in order to unlock that true potential, like what Dr. Pickett said. Know your big why. When you know your big why, and then in the first step, reflect on your strength. When you reflect on your strength and weaknesses and also your values and beliefs, and then because all these things, they lay the foundation of our personal growth. So by acknowledging them and understanding who you are, and you can align your action with your authentic self, so which is really, really important, paving the way for a more fulfilling life. And also, you mentioned that, Dr. Biggett, that if you make up your mind and say, this is what I need to do, but if your heart that is not in it, it's hard to accomplish whatever goal that you want to accomplish. And it's very, very important to go all in, just all in, and say, I'm in this, I want to achieve this. Uh, Sometimes we want to know the results before we actually take action, because we're human beings. But sometimes it's nice to walk the unknown zone. It's nice because it's exciting as well when you don't know where you're going, but you have this big idea and this ending in mind that you want to achieve. I think is beautiful. So I agree with you, Dr. Biggett, when you say know your big why. And that big why, it would take your life to the next level. So yeah, over to you. Can't, Dr. Biggett, you're muted. You are muted, can't hear you. Okay, she's muted. Okay, can I unmute her? Okay, I can't unmute her. Hello, you are muted, Dr. Bigot.
Oh, there you go. My apologies. My internet was doing some peculiar things. So,
Okay.
yeah, it's definitely it. As you mentioned, Numsa, it with the relationship, and some people find themselves unworthy. It is definitely something that, and you even in that scenario, it's a very great example. Like, okay, so if you find yourself that, firstly, why do you want to be in relationship? Some people have these things of, well, I want to be in relationship because everybody in a relationship, right? Anybody ever have that? Well, everybody watching Barbie. Nothing against Barbie. Everybody watching Barbie, so that's I'm going to watch Barbie. Nothing's against that at all. And at the same time, you want to ask, is that really something that feels good to do for you? Is, for instance, I'm giving an example, is if everybody getting married, is that really something that feels good to you? Maybe it's not. I know a few people who says, well, I'd love to have a companion, but not married. So firstly, to know your why, and make sure that the answer is not because everybody else doing it. We're meant to be unique. And if we talk about some people relationship and they feel that they might be unworthy, that's alone is a wonderful question on without, and there is a slightly different between psychology, psychiatry, and counseling, and coaching, as and some people might or might not know, but psychology and counseling a lot of time focus on what causing it and how to understand it, while coaching, yes, you do want to understand why, and then taking actions on how to be able to not to accomplish what it is that you would love. At the same time, if you say, oh, I feel unworthy of a relationship, nobody's born in this world feeling unworthy. We're all born the same blank page. We are born the same blank page. You and I and our next door neighbor and our neighbor across the city, that we're all the same blank page. And so for you to feel unworthy, what trauma either you or your previous generations has experienced. And I said the previous generation because nowadays we have studies showing that grief and trauma can be passed on to the next generation. So sort of called, they have sort of like a trauma gene, so to say. It's not really a trauma gene, but the reasons is that when somebody experience a significant trauma, such as the study was using Holocaust uh, victims as well as some other major war victim, they see that there is changes in the person DNA from the trauma, and that changes. We know that DNA, our genes pass on to the next generation. So it might not necessarily be you in your growing up. It might not be necessarily your personal life, but your family or relatives or friends' life. It could also be the generation previous. Now, not so we can point finger, but so we know now, okay, so this is what happened. Now we can take action, not just so we know and start digging for no good reason and just trying to understand, but actually, okay, so this is what happened. What can you do now to approach this such that we will be able to change your unworthiness, where you are able, in alignment both in your mind and in your heart, that you are worthy, and and go from there. And again, it is, to me personally, it is something that, yes, you want to shift it in your mind, but if your mind repeated affirmations for 10,000 times, some have anybody listening ever done this? You repeated an affirmations and you say it until you are exhausted, and then your results again maybe two step forward, one step back, two step forward, one step back. That's usually because there's something deeper than beyond your mind, and so we want to take the steps such that we're aligned both in our mind and in our heart. Once you know your why moving forward and what's keeping you here, there's a saying, you need to know where you're coming from to go to have a good directions to where you want to go. Because if you have a GPS, if you ever have a GPS and you ask the GPS, take me to place B, take me to somewhere, the GPS will need to ask you where you're starting. If you can't tell the GPS and then you don't have a location locator, it can't help you. It really can, and sometimes it give you a completely wrong directions. I Here in the United States, you have different states, and I live or I resides in two different completely different places. It's about 4.5 hours apart. And there are times I asked the GPS, and the GPS was still living in the past. The past could be a week ago, so I would ask the GPS. This happens not that long ago. I asked the GPS, and the GPS, I have not used it since I was in California, and at this moment I'm in Nevada, and the GPS gave a directions immediately, the way a good GPS supposed to. And I'm like, wait a minute, why is it saying that it's going to take 5 hours? Well, this thing's supposed to be 20 minutes down the road. I didn't know, but it's supposed to be. It's in the same town. It couldn't possibly take 5 hours. Where am I going? And then I look closer, and I wasn't thinking. I look closer. I'm like, what is it, 5 hours? And I'm like, oh, it's thinking that it's coming from California. How many times in your life have you forgotten to look where you are and you just want, I'm gonna go there, go there, go there, and then you say, I'm gonna do this, and then you forgot the very basic core of who you are and your heart, and then you start doing 15 different things and end up taking a lot longer. So
I love that, Dr. Biget, when you say the generation things can be transferred to another generation for another generation, maybe 5 year generation. That's why it's very important. Like when you go to the doctor, they say, do you have this sickness in the family? And they ask a simple because they sometimes they can diagnose you by mistake. It's just because you have that sickness in the family, or simple you are going through the same from your bloodline. So you just have to know where you are going, like you were talking about the grief and drama. I've seen that in my life as well, where some things, no grief and drama, some things where uh, the things that happened in my bloodline, and I see that they reappear in my life as well. But then, because the church that I go to, we then what we do is cutting off like mother like daughter's character, or like father like daughter's character. You see that, like if your father has been married twice, and then you find yourself doing the same thing, and or other things, like you find yourself like doing like similar things. So you have to cut that. You have to cut the codes. So you can do that. You don't have to do things extremely. You can do that. It's very easy. And also, I like it when you say when you know where you're going, like you made an example with your GPS when you're traveling, where sometimes it takes you to where you've been, because to it is actually is familiar. So it's very, very important not to familiarize yourself with the things, like not to feel comfortable. I'm a CEO at Hope Spring Eternal Introduction Agency. I cannot get comfortable because I know that my competitors um, they will do something different. So I just have to be on the lookout on doing different things and being different as well. So that is the mindset of just finding that self-awareness and knowing your destination. When you know your destination is very, very important, and that journey as well that you want to take. uh, like Dr. Bigger, you were talking about the GPS. GPS, it gives you the direction. So it's very, very important. Like if you want to go and get into personal development and find that fulfilling, find that a self-worthy, and find the relationship that you want or the things that you desire, is very, very important to actually embrace the change. Embracing the change and resilience change is inevitable. And true potential lies in those one abilities to adapt and try and thrive in the face of it. So shifting your mindset is very, very important. Also, when you are faced with challenges comes as a opportunity for growth that foster resilience. So when you are faced with challenges, you can't just focus on the challenges. If you really, really want to navigate and live that happy life and find that true potential, you got to you got to be in it. Your mind has got to be in it. Your present, you got to be in the present moment. When I'm saying be in it, be in the present moment. And being in the present moment, it means that I know my why and I know where I'm going. I know the I know um I have this movie, the outcome that I desire in life. And even when things don't get where you need to, when you find yourself uh, with challenges, if you know your big why, you will climb every mountain and just get grab that personal development and keep going. Reading books, there are some people that read books and they read books. Me, I don't read books for fun. I read books because I want to change, I want to improve myself, I want to grow. And any audio that I listen or any YouTube channel that if I see a YouTube channel, I just listen to that because I need to develop something, or there's part of my life that I need to grow. So I do all those things. If I find myself being distracted, there are some people in our lives that enter our lives for distraction, to distract us. So you don't have to be nasty to those people. You can simply be kind and tell yourself that this is not the journey that I need to take. And then you take that journey, continue with your journey. And don't get distracted by people, or don't get distracted by other things. Know where you're going and find support, people that can support you along the way. Dr. Biget, they're here. Other coaches that are not here today, we have lots of coaches that can support you to find those goals, to fulfill that full potential and shift your mindset and find that self-worthy. And the good thing is to actually find the process, create the habit. Once you create the habit and you're used to it, anything else, it becomes your identity, and the character, it comes with it. When like it's like when I every single day, I just enjoy personal development. I just enjoy listening to audios. I enjoy people that just listening to these audios for people that help me with my growth. I love that. And when I listen to it, I know my big why I'm listening to it. And I don't get distracted. I don't know about you, Dr. Bickett. Do you have your big why for 2024?
It's beautiful questions, Numsa. Yeah, everybody, you want to know your big why and sometimes your smaller why. Do I have my big why for 2024? Yes, I do. I learned, like you said, to move to by knowing a destinations instead of just yeah. Otherwise, many times I, somebody says it, and it might have been Bob Proctor or somebody else's that says the late Bob Proctor or somebody else, but he used to say that some few people live 99 years. Most people live 1 year 99 times. Few people live 99 years. Most people live 1 year 99 times. And if you don't know your why and you have sort of like your North Star, where this is where you want to be in your final destinations, and we know that we cannot get to a final or distance destinations here, for instance, between in the United States. You cannot get from Los Angeles to New York in one jump or in one drive without going through other city. And I'm sure it's the same with the UK. When I was there, you cannot get to London to somewhere else but without going through different places. So you want to know your final destination. What is it that you would love? And the steps in between. So for instance, for people talking about relationship, your final destinations might be you would love to have a family and you would love to see a family growing up with a couple, two or three children, and you just love in your idea of being a parents and a grandparents, and that might be your final destination. In the meantime, for you to be in a family and with children and grandchildren and so forth, some grandchildren, some 40 years from now, well, before that, you want to, what is your step prior? And that's when you said, okay, then I would love to be married. And I truly love to be married, not just because every other person and my neighbor and my parents says I got to be married, but I would love to be married, and this is why this is my destinations. And then you say, okay, so that's when I go dating and meeting people, I have in my mind where I would love to be. Otherwise, you'll end up just trying to go out with every other persons on that happen to be around. And then if you discover, okay, so this, and then when you know your why, you will be able to start seeing things that is not aligned with your why. Talking about relationship, it's perhaps it's the other persons. Perhaps it's the other persons where, well, yeah, no, his or her most passionate things to do or really love doing is partying every night until past midnight. It might not necessarily align with your family picture there. You might want to know that. Now, it could also be something different where you might notice that because of your own trauma or somebody else's trauma in the past, that you are guarded, you are defensive, and you don't allow people to be particularly close to you because your tender heart was once hurt and it didn't want to get hurt again. And therefore, it will try to be very cautious and say, yeah, we would love to be all these things, but you don't really allow people to be as close to you and therefore being able to love you and be with you. And when you guard it, it will be difficult people to be there long term. So in that scenario, you would want, you know your why, and you know why you have not been in a relationship that the way that you would love, and then it could be also unworthiness or some other thing, and then you can say, okay, here's my final destinations, here's where I am. Excuse me, here's the 9 things that is going well with this, and here's the one thing that keeps having me self-sabotage and not moving forward. Okay, let's do what we're able to change that such that it's also aligned to the relationship that you would want.
I'm just laughing when you talk about your why. I was doing something, something that I was praying for, and I was going. We went from the 23rd to the 31st, and I could see there was a big distraction, and this person knew that I was onto something, and then he tried to distract me with something. So I was like, no, I'm just gonna stay focused because I know my big why. My big why is to have 20 to enter 2024 different than it was in 2023. And that's why I'm just laughing, and something is just reminding me, is just laughing and reminding me for that. You just reminded me for that. I like it, Dr. Pickett, when you say your final destination. Final destination is very, very important. For me, when I'm creating my goals, I always put the ending in mind where I need to be. And also, when I put the ending in mind, I know that my destination, the journey that I'm going to have to take, is going to have mountains, it's going to have joy, it's going to have miracles, it's going to have so many things, it's going to have there'll be times where maybe I might have to cry, but as long I'm aware of that, when that crying place comes, I don't cry. I look at that journey, I'm like, I know my destination, I know where I need to be. So I'm gonna focus on that. When the distraction comes, I know that I know my destination. And when you, like you say, allow yourself, like when you were talking, I had this feeling that even we get disappointed in things in life, the relationship, allow yourself to love again. If you get disappointed, you can't say, I'm not going to date guys, or I'm not going to date women because women are this. You've met that woman, broke your heart. So what? Not every woman is like that. You met that man and they broke your heart. So what? It's not that not every man is like that. There are good men out there. It's just changing your mindset, shifting your mindset, and also understanding your self-worth, and having a good relationship with yourself. And when my life wasn't going well, I stopped everything. That moment, that was 10 years ago. And I was praying. I'm just like, the fire of the Holy Ghost, praying, I'm like the enemy, and God, he says, no, sir, shut up. And I'm like blaming God. I'm like, how can you do this to me? How can I pray for my blessings? I'm single now. I don't have a relationship. He goes, shut up. You asked me for. And then I'm like, okay, let me listen to this Holy Spirit. He was like, no, sir, you prayed for relationship, and you did not want to be single. You prayed for relationship. You took all the steps that were necessary to find that special person, but you did not work on your skills. And I was like, wow. When I came to a realization now that I did not, all I did was to work on my image. I made sure that my image was so perfect that when I stepped outside there, everyone would be like, wow, that girl looks amazing. But inside, I was broken. So I'm sharing this story, guys, because 2024, it shouldn't be like a happy new year, a new year resolution. Every 365 days, it should be your new year resolution. Shift your mindset, understand yourself worthy. Whether it's business, you are worthy. Anybody else that tells you otherwise, I don't have authority to judge Dr. Bigot and say she is not worthy, or even to make her feel that she's not worthy. I've no authority to do that as a human being. And I've learned that the hard way. And when I've learned that human beings don't have authority to judge others, and I've made a commitment to myself, and I've made a commitment to God that God, if I have hurt anybody that is walking on earth, I'm sorry, forgive me. And now, if somebody comes and give me attitude, I'm like one of those. She or he is one of those. Then then I have to find out the story of that person. What makes them behave the way they behave? Just politely and ask the questions, and you normally get the answer that you don't expect. That person, they've been hurt before, so they no longer care. They just going around and hurting everybody. We're thinking that everybody's the same, but we are not the same. So I'm just saying to you guys, know your worthiness. When you walk that walk it, it's yours. The music that sings in your head, let it be yours. Let it open those full potential. The dance that you dance I'm not talking about the real dance, guys. I'm talking about the universe, the God, the story, your story, the rhythm of life. That's what I mean. Like Dr. Bigere was saying the destination, and me, I'm saying the dance, the rhythm of life. When life takes you to places, but what dance? Like if the music was to play right now, you create your dance move. But when you do create those dance move, what kind of a dance would you create? The footstep. Would you listen to Nomsa's music and dance my path? Or would you say, you know what? Nomsa, your dance is great, but I'm chasing mine. Admire it, find yours. Over to you, Dr. Bigit.
I love that. What is your dance? There are some tribes in Africa who believe that I forgot the name of the tribes, but they have this routine where when a woman is pregnant and about to give birth, the elders in that village will come together and they start playing free flow music until all of them, they just listen to guidance. They all play separately, they listen to guidance, and they find a melody that everyone will somehow synchronize. And that is the melody that they said is for the child about to be born. And everybody's melody is different because everyone's meant to be unique. And if you are, and so there is a melody in your heart, you born with a rhythm, a tune that is very unique to you, even if you have a twin. I've worked through the years with many twins, helping them recover from grief, and it is fascinating to see they could be they're in the same household, growing up side by side, sleeping in the same bed many times as a younger child, they never separate it. Even they're going to the bathroom, one is standing next to it, to each other. And at the same time, each of them feel things, each person feel things differently, perceive differently, and accordingly affected by it as they grow up differently. And it's very fascinating. Exact same event, exact same everything else, and these are identical twins that they look exactly the same, and at the same on the surface, but in the inside, everyone different. And so when you discover your dance, I do to help people move through and beyond grief. I created a system called Dance Away Sadness, and it is a freestyle dancing, and it's a beautiful thing to see some people that come with the exact same loss and very similar story of loss will, but for the same music, they feel called to move differently. One person's might be spinning around, the others walking around the room, and some just literally they just stand there in stillness. And so everybody's different. If and so you want to know what is your dance, what feels true to your heart, and if you seems to not be able to get to your heart, in other words, you said what's true to my heart, I have no idea. Then you want to discover again your why. Why is it that you're not able to connect to your heart? Was there some form of confusions? In other words, you just never even realize that it's possible to know what it is that is true for you? Or is it because there was some trauma blocking you from being able to truly listen to what your heart and what's your rhythm and dance for your soul, for your spirit, so to say? What is it that your heart calling you? Or some people say, what's your soul calling you? Because everybody's meant to be different. Even if, for instance, we have community of coaches, some coaches, their goal is to be able to serve well while raising children, or while having a better life, and balance, where they have plenty of time to be able to do things, to travel, to enjoy. And it could be one person, and it could be their why. And then some people, for instance, with myself, my goal is to continue to serve even more, even better in an all-win manner. And with that, if your goal is to be able to raise children well, you might not necessarily be wanting to travel the world some 6 out of 12 months. Might be a bit much for your children, versus somebody who is not focused in that aspect. I'm happy to travel. I'm happy to move. I'm happy to do a lot of different things. And that's because, again, you know your why, you know your destinations, you know what is it that you would love, and what is it that also back to that to your dance. I happen to travel very well. I can travel for weeks with a carry-on, which surprised many people when we travel in group. They're like, "We're going 2.5 weeks. Where's your suitcase?" I'm like, "Right here." And I travel very well. I don't. Many people have jet lag. I don't. I adapt to things like that. And so that's the dance in my body, in my DNA, where I seems to be born to adapt and travel with the speed of light. And so, what about you? And it does not make you better or worse. Some people say, "Oh, wow, how could you do that? And I'm not that way, so you must be better than me." No, if you keep me in the house and tell me not to go anywhere and start cooking and cleaning, I would lose my mind. So everybody just different. And you want to know you. You want to know what is it that feels good to you, and then go from there. Know your destinations, know where you are, and then you'll be able to take the next step and the next step and the next step. And you will be able, like Numsa said earlier, to notice all the distractions. It might be some really handsome guy with a lot of money, or a very beautiful lady with all the flair that seemingly, but if the person's not aligned with your destinations, you know not to waste your time dating that person. And it's only distract you from arriving where you want to be.
Of that, Dr. Bigot. And yeah, if the guy does not align with what you're looking for, or the woman does not align with what you're looking for, don't waste time, no matter how beautiful they are, because beauty is not going to take your life to the next level. It fades away. Someone might look beautiful now, maybe a few years' time, that beauty, the outer world, but the inner world, it does not fade, it grows. So, and that person who has beauty inside, the outside keeps growing as well, because we become who we want to become. Dr. Bigger, you were mentioning the melody. In my tribe, they do that. And I went to this, my church, I go to MFM church, so we fast like in July, we fasted for August, we start July, beginning, end of July, just before end of July, we start fasting for 70 days. So when we were fasting, begin that fast, I think it was the second week. So I went to my friends, and so they were like, "Why are you not eating now?" I'm like, "No, I'm not eating. I'm gonna eat later." And they're like, "Why don't you just take a break with God and just and take a break with God and just do your thing, girl?" And I was like, my thing is to be connected with God so I can do my thing. Without Him, I cannot do my thing. So everyone was making fun of me. So now that we go on the dance stage, I love to dance and I can dance. And the Holy Spirit just took over, and I was dancing the dance move that I have never danced before. And everyone goes, "Wow, Nomsa, you can." I'm like, "I can dance it, but I didn't know that I can dance like this." So I got confused as well, but I was enjoying it. But then I kept my dance move, by the way. So then I realized that these guys were making fun of me, and now the Holy Spirit is showing me the joy of going that path, knowing where you need to be, and following your destination, following your heart, and not being a follower and following your beliefs. Because I could have simply, I was fasting from until 2 o'clock, 2 p.m. anyway. I was breaking up at 5. Was it 5 or 2 p.m.? I think so, between those things, those times. And it doesn't bother me. Even if I go to people, if I'm fasting, I don't eat. I have to wait until I'm finished, because I know that that party tomorrow is not going to be there, but God will still be there. So it is important, like what you were saying, that the melody that is in your heart, don't change it for the sake of changing it. Know your dance, know your why. And that is very, very important. Wherever you go, if your goals is to become a businesswoman, become a businessman, or you don't want to work, your goal is just keep going. If people say, your dreams, and people can say so many things they want, but at the end of the day, they cannot define you. People cannot define your destination, and they cannot tell you that your dreams are too big or too small, because there's one person that can define you. Only God knows your destination. He knows how your story ends. So anybody else that comes your way, just unapologetic without an attitude. Some people give people attitude. What I've realized is when you walk in grace, no matter what happened in that process, or you fall, you always pick yourself up. For me, it's all about knowing what I want in life. And people can say whatever they want to say, but I just hold on to my dreams. I hold on to God. And when I hold on to my dreams, it means I have to keep dreaming. You know, when we were children, Dr. Bigot, we always dreamed like you run, go to your parents and say, wow, I want to be like this. When I'm older, I want to be this. I want to be this. I want to do this. But when we get older, we don't want to do that anymore. Life is, we have to use our imagination. We have to keep dreaming. And keep dreaming, it means writing goals and knowing where you need to go. When life it throws you with whatever it throws you, like, okay, I just look at things and I'm like, okay, it's one of those moments. And I just pray to God. So know your why, like what Dr. Bigot was saying, and also build your healthy self-esteem is very, very important. Nature brings out positive relationship is very important, and also overcoming limiting beliefs. Limiting beliefs will always going to be there, and also be aware of what goes into your subconscious mind. Meditate. Me is all fasting and prayer. I fast 2 days a week. I pray to God. And when I'm fasting, is all about really connecting my inner being, just be in the present moment and connecting with God. And the in my you know where you live, there's always an angel guiding that town. There's always like they're good angels, they're bad ones. The bad ones where I live, they always say, you are completely bonkers because I chase them away. So you can do that and just connect with your inner being. And when you connect, or if you're not a Christian, meditate. When you meditate, you're connecting with your winning spirit man inside of you, that energy that drives you, that helps you to get creative, to create dreams, and to fulfill the goals and celebrate them. That's the energy that you need. But if you don't have that energy, then that means you're walking in zombie. So Dr. Bigot, it's 2 o'clock. Any words of encouragement that you would like to give our audience, please, before we go?
Yeah, I would say that if you know your why, then with proper support, if you don't, you will be able to reach your why. If you don't know how to do it yourself, allow support. But if you know your why, if you know where you want to go, if you know where you want to go, then even if at this moment you're seemingly unable to reach that destinations, all you need to do is to allow proper support and allow proper resource to support you, and you will be able to accomplish that destinations. Recent clients of mine has been has has an experience when he was a child, and he was going through thing and not being able to have peace of mind, and he just said, I just want to be able to feel free in my heart. And it took him 70 years. He's in his 80s, but eventually, if you know your why, your destinations that you want, you will continue to work and find a way to be able to reach there, and you will reach it.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Bigot. And I'm just going to leave you guys with this. If you know your why, like what Dr. Bigot say, keep going. Don't allow any distractions in your life. Have a good relationship with yourself. And once you have a good relationship with yourself and get along with yourself and know that destination where you need to be. And once you know the destination, that where you need to go, make sure your character aligns with that, because our character is everything. Everything we need. We need a good character, authentic one, authentic self-image as well, and just unapologetic go for what you desire in life without being distracted by anybody. People have they will comment, they will do this, but they are allowed to do that. It doesn't mean that he has to go in there. You can just reject it. So God bless everyone. And if you want to get in touch with the Dr. Biggery, you can go to the website www.hseia.com. If you're looking for love as well, you can register with HSEIA as well. And find that true love for coaching as well. Or you can simply get in touch with the Dr. Bigot on her social media. Or if you cannot get hold of her, I think my office number is on the website. Ring me or email me, and I'll connect with you with Dr. Bigot straight away. And if you want to get in touch with me, you can get in touch with me anywhere. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, and like our page as well. Live with grace, everyone. God bless.